again with that disease for the trees.
What disease for the trees?
Big stone. That's what the notice was saying. The bits that
Dieback.
you have to do the thing to your feet.
Ash dieback.
Starts with a PH.
Yes, but it'll be the scientific name for the ash dieback. It's one marked for getting knocked down.
Is that like a little wappy bit, isn't it? Because of the big leaves and things.
Yep, that'll be irises probably.
Marshy.
Yeah.
Marshy.
Yep. You don't. You smell the wild garlic. Yep.
That's all for the big stones. That's the big stone that was.
Oh. Wow.
What the hell is that?
Quite phallic, isn't it?
Like a little maintenance pagoda. Okay,
That's an impressive house.
I want to see it.
Squishy. Squishy gravel.
We go see it.
Hmm?
We go in and see it.
Do you really want to?
Yeah, it's pretty. Don't need a tour. You just walk over it,
I'll take it to the information shop.
you keep the dog there. And my bus pass.
Of course, you've got your sequiny thing in the way.
And I have to.
Supers.
Aww. Thank you. I'll go get the food.
Okay. Always with the puppies, huh?
Sorry,
Hello.
I'm bad at speaking to the dogs and not the humans.
Hello. You gonna say hello too?
The dogs that live up our way. I can tell you what their owners do. We know the dogs. I'm the same.
I'm glad you're wearing your sturdy shoes.
Yep. Well, my boots are stuck, so I'd probably better in my walking boots because I put my ankles.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's my knees that are putting me back.
Rabble.
You roll that in your pocket again? I'll hold the camera while you put it in the bucket.
Thank you.
easier than like a white building when you have this red brick. Size of that tree though, eh?
It's a sequoia.
Yeah, unfortunately the top. Oh, that's bad. Oh, only for a few feet.
Well done on the burp, by the way.
Eh?
Well done on the burp.
Oh, thank you. Why?
Recording.
Yeah. Not surprised.
Not surprised at what?
It's her word from you. So pretty. I will say, they look quite nice when they're blooming.
Yes, and that's why they were brought over.
Because they're pretty.
Because they are pretty, but they're just horrendously invasive.
Yeah. That's an understatement, the whole view. Dunedin.
The Argyll and Bute Peninsula. The Argyll Peninsula. Oh, that's pretty.
Ooh, pretty.
Uh-huh.
Looking forward, folks. Are we going to manage these steps?
Yeah, I'll be fine. It's
Okay, thank you.
stability.
Good morning, folks. My name is Jim, and I'm going to be your guide for the next hour or so. We have a co-pilot on the flight, and that co-pilot is Lance. And if you're wondering why we need a co-pilot on the flight, with 127 rooms in the house, if you get lost, we'll probably find you in a fortnight's time under a bed pleading for bread and water. Lance's job is to make sure that does not happen, okay? We don't have many rooms in Mount Stuart, but if you want to take photographs, please take as many photographs as you like, but for other people's comfort within the group, we ask that you switch off your flash facility. We ask that you don't sit or lean on any of the furniture. Some of it's fine, but some of it is really fragile. You don't know which is which, so we ban it all together, okay? If you need a wee seat, Lance will get you a wee mobile seat, a wee folding thing, if you want to sit down if it becomes too much, okay? So, welcome. Welcome to Mount Stuart Mark II. Mark I was built by him, and he is James II Earl of Bute. And what he built in 1719 was a Georgian mansion. It was square, 2 levels, dead simple, okay? It was added to by his son, the 3rd Earl, John Stuart, who's over here, and you will hear a lot more about him later on. And John Stuart added the 2 wings that you've maybe seen. This white building here, on this side, and if you go for a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, bite to eat, there's a white building at the other end. Well, he added them in the 1740s. 1877, there is a fire, and the fire destroys the whole central part of the Georgian mansion. 1877, the head of the house is this man here, and he is John Patrick Crichton-Stuart, the 3rd Marquis of Bute. Now notice, 2nd Earl, 3rd Earl, 3rd Marquis. So somewhere along the line, they're going to jump up the peerage ladder, and I'll come to that later on. Now, there's there's a couple of things you need to know about John Patrick Crichton-Stuart, the third Marquess of Bute. He started building this house in 1880. It took 3 years to plan with his Scots architect Robert Rowan Anderson. In 1880, when he started to build this house, he was the richest man in Europe. He was also the best amateur architect of his day and a scholar of the highest order. And what he has built is probably the most amazing piece of Victorian Gothic architecture anywhere. And I owe you an apology. I should have said about the rules, questions are good. Don't be going back from where you come from and going, oh, I wish I'd asked about. If you have a question, you ask it. And here is the answer to your first question. No, the family no longer stay here, okay? They stayed here until 1993, but in 1989, the sixth Marquess saw the writing on the wall, if you think like, and one family couldn't possibly keep this going. So what he did in 1989, he started the Mount Stuart Charitable Trust, with a view that when he died, the house would pass over to the Mount Stuart Charitable Trust and would then be open to the public. Sadly, he died only 4 years later, and the house then passed over to the Mount Stuart Charitable Trust, and we opened to the public in 1995. In the time between 1989 and 1993, his son, the 7th Marquess, obviously knowing that he would not be able to stay in the house, built a house at the other side of the island, at the Scouse side of the island, so that is now their home. This is their family seat, but their family home is at the other side of the island. You have to know though, that every single thing you see in this house, the paintings, the furniture, the art, the books, whatever it is, belong to the family. So you're seeing that courtesy of the family. And everything you buy today, be it the ticket, be it a program, be it a guidebook, be it a cup of tea, be it a cup of coffee, be it a haggis sausage roll, all the process goes to the Mount Stuart Charitable Trust. None of it goes to the family.
And the house belongs to family, or?
Pardon?
House belongs to family?
No, what is in the house belongs to the family.
House?
What the contents belong to the family. Yeah. So I said the most amazing piece of Victorian Gothic architecture. Big deep breath. Let's go up the stairs and be amazed.
Excuse me, sir, could I try you to actually put that box out on the front, just in case if you turn,
Okay.
it could actually hit against one of the exhibits.
Right, no problem.
Sorry.
No, you're quite all right.
Pregnant belly now.
Little disguise back real bit.
There we go, you're okay.
That's great. Thank you.
Honest,
We will come back in here, I promise, but we're going this way.
Thank you.
wow.
Family chapel.
This was the kitchen.
Do come right forward. Somebody should have warned you. Someone should have warned you when you told them that you are visiting Mount Stuart. They should have said to you, make sure you book a neck massage after you've finished, because you need to continually look up. So, you have a house. That house becomes too small for you. So you extend it by building a conservatory, or you build an extra bedroom, or you extend your kitchen. 1896, John Patrick Crichton-Stuart, the third Marquess, extends his house by building this, the chapel. And the first thing you notice is that it is freezing. That's because it's made totally of Carrara marble, and Carrara marble does not hold the heat. So if you're ever invited to a wedding at Mount Stuart, the wedding invite comes as a health warning, especially if that wedding is January, February, November, December. I'm lucky enough to be master of ceremonies at weddings, and I stand at the back in my full kilt outfit. 20 minutes in here in January, June is not a happy bunny, but it's a copy. Up here is a copy of La Salle Cathedral in Saragossa in Spain. SEO, La Salle Cathedral in Saragossa. The floor is a copy of the Sistine Chapel. The problem with the Sistine Chapel is, when you visit the Sistine Chapel, you cannot see the floor because there's so many people walking around it. Now is your opportunity. This is what the Sistine Chapel floor looks like. Yeah. The altar is a copy of the steeple outside, the lead steeple outside. So if you look at it, you'll realise that the altar is a copy of it. But the altar, this one was not put in till 1924 by the 4th Marquess, and it is bronze. The original one was wooden. 1990, there is nothing up there. I talked about the 6th Marquess handing the building over to the Mount Stuart Charitable Trust. He spent the best part of 40 years of his life renovating, improving and maintaining the building. Back to what the 3rd Marquess intended it to be. So in 1990, the only thing that's up there is the red glass that is copied from a Russian church. So in 1990, the 6th Marquess hires an artist called Tom Errington. And Tom starts with a gold oak leaf and the green ceiling at the top, and you will see a lot of oak leaf and acorn in the house, because the oak leaf and the acorn are symbols of the Stuarts of Bute. So he starts up there in 1990 and gets to the white Celtic saints. See them? In 1998. Now you've been in here for a couple of minutes. Imagine being in here for 8 years. And it was a case of double jeopardy for Tom Errington, because not only was he freezing for 8 years, he was scared of heights. If you know of anybody that wants to get married at Mount Stuart, okay, you tell them to get married as close to 1 o'clock as you possibly can. Why? Because this is north-south facing. The sun shines, the sun hits those red windows up there, shines through the red windows and creates that pink glow. And by another hour it'll be a wee bit more, and this whole area in here will be pink. Yeah. So think about the photographs. You have the minister, the priest or the celebrant standing here, bride and groom, guests sitting at the back, photograph taken from the back, pink background. Wow, wow. By 2 o'clock, you've missed it round here. Yeah? Won't have the same effect. Second most asked question. There is the organ pipes. So where is the organ? It's in that loft above the doorway. Up there. Yeah? Let's move on. It's freezing in here. 1990? Yeah. 1993. Yeah. So what carried on courtesy of St. Marcus and the Mount Stuart Charitable. Even though it was in 1995, Tom still on the right way. Okay, come on now.
White dress, a big pink dress.
Do again, go right into the middle.
Okay.
What they did was, when we opened to the public in 1995, while Tom was still painting along the scaffolding, they put ropes in front of the scaffolding so that the people could still see the chapel, but yet not disturb what was going on. Yeah.
Can you imagine the wedding pictures of the bride in pink?
Come on, Paul. Now, John Patrick Crichton-Stuart, the third Marquis of Bute, you don't build something like that unless you've got a passion for religion. So his main passion was religion, but his other hobbies were astronomy, astrology, Greek mythology, and the natural world. Yeah, and you'll see all of them as we go around the house. Typical of that, please don't faint on me, don't give yourself a crick in the neck, but 80 feet above you is the northern hemisphere night sky when the house was started in 1880. The white shapes are the 49 constellations of the northern hemisphere. The gold shapes are the Greek mythological figures that go along with them, and the stars are cut crystal. And such is the technology of this house. First house in Scotland to have electricity, central heating, a telephone system, and there's a question for you. First house in Scotland to have a telephone system. Who did he telephone? The first house in Scotland to have a lift. The first house in the world to have an indoor heated swimming pool. And if you came to a wedding at Mount Stuart and you were staying in the rooms above you, you could have a little swim on Saturday morning before the wedding and a little swim on Sunday morning as a hangover cure, because it's still in operation today. So back to the stars. Believe it or believe it not, the stars are in a screw-in system, so they can be screwed out to be polished, cleaned and screwed back in again, so they remain sparkly and star-like. We don't do it anymore. Reason for that, 1880 screws, bent, rusty, we pull them out, a bit of plaster comes off the ceiling, disaster. Yeah. So we don't do it anymore. By now your neck is sore. So the windows I will deal with when we go to the gallery. But briefly, the windows are the signs of the Zodiac in seasons and coloured according to the temperature of that particular season. So you've got blue for winter, you've got red for summer, you've got green for spring, and you've got purple for autumn. More of that though when you go upstairs. And now, just for a second or two, now need you to look up. As you look in the corner, just below the level of the black stone, you see what looks like an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
Okay, and in the ice cream, you see a face carved into the ice cream. Go to your right and you see a bird in this one, a bird in this one, and a face in that one there. Have a wee look at the rest.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Blank. And the reason for that, John Patrick Crichton-Stuart, the third Marquis of Bute, dies at the age of 53 from his third stroke in the year 1900. And Lady Gwendolyn, his widow, who lives for 32 years after him, never marries again, stops all the workmen from what they're doing, wherever they were doing it, and took them into the chapel in an effort to finish the chapel as a memorial to her husband. And then along comes the First World War. And the men that were needed to finish all this did not come back from the war. So you'll go round and you'll see a lot of unfinished, not just in here, other places, a lot of unfinished work in Mount Stuart House that will never, ever, ever be finished. Reason, if we try to take a mallet and chisel to these now, they'll just crumble.
Yeah.
However, finished are the capitals at the top of the pillars. Carrara carvings at the top of the pillars, and in here they represent the fauna that you'll find on the estate. And here is the kicker. Every single carving you see in this house, and there are hundreds, have all been done by a man with a mallet and chisel in situ. So take any one you like. Imagine a block, a solid block of Carrara marble, and then think about the time, the patience, the craftsmanship, the artistry, to turn that block of Carrara marble into what you're seeing today. Just stunning. And as you go around, peeking out at you, that's a Scottish butterfly, looking out at you, peeking out at you, you'll see spiders, dragonflies, mice, squirrels, birds, caterpillars, snails, all peeking out at you from underneath the foliage. Yeah. Now, what makes this house so amazing? You cannot miss the big things. You cannot miss the tapestries. You cannot miss the paintings. You cannot miss the furniture. What you can miss are the small things. Small things like door handles, bell pushes, light switches, door hinges, all beautifully, beautifully ornately carved. Typical of that, let's pretend. Let's pretend we get an invite to dinner from the Marquis of Bute. We would have wine with a meal. So what else do you have carved in the hinges of your dining room door but grapevines? Come and have a look.
It's even on these ones.
Now, you're getting no prizes for guessing which room this is, okay? Dining room. Let me deal with the dining set at the moment. The table is set for dessert, okay? All of the porcelain that you see in the room, okay, is Swansea china, all hand painted and belonged originally to Thomas Coates the banker. Now, how Thomas Coates the banker's porcelain set is in here, I'll come to later, okay? Now, it never fails me. When I said to you that John Patrick Crichton-Stuart was the richest man in Europe, it's like, okay, richest man in Europe, where did the money come from? Well, it's not nice to talk about money, but we will, okay? This gentleman here, John Stuart, the third Earl of Bute, remember Lee Boy in the entrance who extended the house? This is him all grown up. Now, he, Scottish nobility since the late 1300s, okay, never poor, but he's the one that kind of explodes it all, the start of the whole explosion of money. He has three claims to fame. One, he loves his plants and his flowers and his fauna. He's actually writing books on the subject. He meets the lady at the end, and the lady at the end is Lady Augusta, and she is the mother of George III. She is also into her plants and her flowers. Yeah? The two they meet by chance, and before you know it, these two are building, planting and organising Kew Gardens together, and he becomes its first director. I was talking to a curator, Jessica, just last week, And she was saying that at last, the contribution made by John Stuart, the third Earl of Bute, to Kew Gardens has been recognised by Kew Gardens, and there is now a portrait of John Stuart, the third Earl of Bute, in Kew Gardens. So that's fame number one. Fame number two. Her husband dies, and she's looking for a mentor, father figure for her children. Yeah. Chooses John here. So John Stuart, the third Earl of Bute, becomes the father figure to this boy here, who is George the Third. So John Stuart becomes the father figure to the future King of Britain, George the Third. George the Third comes to the throne of Britain in 1760. By 1762, he is sick to the back teeth of his corrupt government. So he literally puts his right foot on the backside of the sitting Prime Minister, kicks him out the door, and puts John here, unelected, as his Prime Minister. Some things in Britain just never change. Yeah? So, he becomes the first Scot ever to be British Prime Minister. But he's only Prime Minister for 11 months. He is not popular. In fact, up until Liz Truss came along, he was the 5th shortest serving Prime Minister in British history. Thanks to Liz Truss, he's now the 6th. Yeah? Why does he only last 11 months? Why is he not popular? Well, one, he's a Scot. Okay? 1762, 20 years before that, the Scots and the English are knocking lumps out of one another at the Jacobite Rebellion, and he appoints a Scot as his Prime Minister? Nuts, just nuts. 2, politicians in those days did not get on with royalty, and yet he's really close to him and really close to her. So that was another reason. 3, the parliamentary makeup, the members of Parliament at that time. He is a Tory. 6 Prime Ministers before him are Whigs. 4 Prime Ministers after him are Whigs. And he appoints a Tory. Not only is he unpopular, they tried to assassinate him 3 times. So you're in a job for 11 months, and they try to assassinate you in that 11 months 3 times. You're thinking to yourself, this is not for me, so he retires to private life. Then along comes fame number 3. He's already a patron of the arts and a collector of paintings. He goes nuts on that. And he starts collecting paintings from all over the world. Between him and his son, we'll come to in a minute, 500 paintings. And Mount Stuart has one of the most valuable collection of paintings in a family home anywhere. And I know some people are into the paintings. All of these here are Alan Ramsay paintings, a famous Scots painter. The oval one at the bottom, that's a Gainsborough. The 2 behind you are Joshua Reynolds, and the one with the gentleman with the cloak, that is a Rayburn. And every single room in Mount Stuart is like that. Every single room. The wee boy in the pink, that's his son, and he would become the 4th Earl. However, because of what his daddy did for George the III, George III elevates him to Marquess, and he becomes the first Marquess in 1796. And ladies, he is where the real money starts, because he marries the right lady at the right time twice. Come on through next door. Come on through next door.
Joshua Reynolds.
It is the first Marquess. The wee boy in pink all grown up. Okay. So here he is all grown up, the wee boy in pink, and he is the first Marquess. Now, he marries this lady here, Charlotte Windsor. And Charlotte's daddy is the Earl of Windsor. And Charlotte's daddy owns Cardiff Castle and the whole of South Wales. She is an only child. And in those days, girls, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. If daddy had estates and money and titles, when daddy dies, you got nothing. So Daddy Windsor dies, and he's now the Marquis of Bute and the Earl of Windsor, gaining Cardiff Castle and the whole of South Wales. They are married for 32 years, and she dies on him. Don't bring out the tissues. Don't feel sorry for him. Don't even think about it. Why? 9 months after she dies, he marries again, and he marries a lady 28 years his junior, whose daddy just happens to be Daddy Coots, the banker, Thomas Coots. Hence the reason for having the Coots porcelain through there. Yeah. Now, he marries Frances Coots in the year 1800. In those days, girls, you had to come with a dowry. Frances's dowry from Daddy Coots was £100,000 in the year 1800. Today's money, 10 million smackaroos for saying, I do. Gentlemen, we should be so lucky. Now, these two have a son, and that son should become the second Marquis. But that son doesn't, because the son falls off his horse at the age of 27 and is killed. But before he falls off his horse, their son marries a lady called Penelope Crichton. And Penelope's father is the Earl of Dumfries, who owns Dumfries House and the whole of South West Scotland. Guess what? Penelope is an only child. So that when Daddy Dumfries dies, we're now the Marquis of Bute, the Earl of Windsor, and the Earl of Dumfries. We've now got Cardiff Castle, the whole of South Wales, Dumfries House, and the whole of South West Scotland. Yeah?
Hi.
Before he falls off his horse, he gives Penelope 2 sons, and this is the oldest one. And he would become Marquis on the death of his grandfather in 1814. This boy is one clever cookie. The Industrial Revolution in Britain is in full swing by 1814. Steam is king. To make steam, you need lots of coal. And guess what he finds in Granny's grandfather's estate in South Wales? Coal. And it's not just any coal, it's the very best. So he allows mining companies to mine his land, railways to cross his land to transport the coal. He is making a mint for doing absolutely nothing. He's a killer cookie. And Welsh coal is wanted all over the world. Right? So he's thinking, how am I going to get the coal out there? Ships. So I need ships to come in somewhere, so I need to build docks. So in 1836 he finds a wee fishing village in a deep water bay. That little fishing village, ladies and gentlemen, was Cardiff. This is the modern creator of Cardiff, because along with the docks, they need workers to work the docks. They need houses to stay in, shops to shop in, banks to bank in, and Cardiff explodes. Listen to this. In the 1840s, this boy's income is 1/3 of Britain's national industrial income. He dies in his sleep at the age of 57, and he leaves his only son 6 months old. Now, in 1868, that son would become 21 and therefore entitled to his inheritance. In those days, you got nothing till 21. When he becomes 21 in 1868, he becomes the 3rd Marquis of Bute, the Earl of Windsor, the Earl of Dumfries, and 11 other titles by this time. But thanks to Daddy, he is worth £300,000 a year in income. By today's money, 30 to 35 million pounds a year. Every year. But remember, in those days you got nothing till you're 21. So he's, right apart from his education and a few trips abroad, in 1868 he's got 21 times 35 million to spend right at the very outset. You do the maths. And that's why you're looking around today, the first house said to cost £1 million to build, starting in 1880. So we'll go and have a wee look and see what he spent it on, will we? Come on. So welcome to the drawing room, which is the ladies' room, because originally the name of this room would have been the with drawing room, because this is where ladies would withdraw to after dinner, while the gentlemen went with their cigars and their brandy and their port into the smoking room. Features of this room, because it's a ladies' room, everything to please ladies. Okay, so for instance, rosebuds on the handles of the doors, the bottom, top and bottom of the hinges of the doors, rosebuds on the handles of the shutters, all because Lady Gwendolyn loved roses. The windows by Horatio Walter Lonsdale are all girls. These are the daughters of Zeus. We have a problem though. Zeus only had 9 daughters. We've got 10 windows. So the brother Apollo has been put in there to make up the numbers. Yeah. You'll notice the carvings in here are no longer fauna, but more defined. They are flowers, foxtrots, daffodils, that kind of thing. Foxgloves, I should say, not foxtrots, that's a dance. And you'll notice in amongst them, you'll find spiders, caterpillars, butterflies, birds, bugs that would take a lady's interest. Yeah? The ceiling, however, is the male. The ceiling is a heraldic family tree, with the tree in this case being a grapevine, and it is all on the back of polished mica. And if you don't know what mica is stone. In the old days, ladies, what you would do before glass and mirrors came along, you would cut a slice of mica, polish it up and use it as a mirror. It wouldn't be as nice, you wouldn't see it would show you a reflection, but it wouldn't be as good as a mirror. Yeah? And each shield up there represents one male member of the Stuart family. Yeah? 300 years long. I talked about the third Earl and paintings. One of the hardest things for you to understand as you go around this house, up until 1993, this was a family home. Think of your children. Think of your children right around this house, 127 rooms, playing hide and seek. You'd probably never see them again and celebrate. Playing badminton in the Marble Hall, because that's what they did up until 1993. In here, thanks to the third Earl, is probably the most valuable collection of Italian Renaissance paintings in a family room, in a family home, anywhere. And I know people are into that. By the way, remember the wee boy in the pink? Well, there he is, still in the pink. When you had money and titles in those days, when you became 21, you went on a world tour. His world tour lasted for 3 years, and he had his painting done by Bute while he was in Rome. Either side of him at the top, these two are Tintorettas. My own favourite in here is the Madonna and Prayer, that is a Sassoferrato. Bottom left, the Marriage of St. Catherine, that is a Veronese. But the big money, the boss in here if you like, is this one here. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the Doge of Venice, and that is a tissue. Yeah. Now we're going to go into the Purple Library. I talk about carvings and things. If you look up, you see above the collar here, you see a spider complete with web.
Yeah.
And remember, as you're looking at these things, mallet and chisel in situ. My favourite in the whole house, and I make no apologies for pointing out to you, my favourite in the whole house is round here. And this is a butterfly. And as you look at it, notice the indentations in its wing and ask yourself, how did the guy do that without putting the chisel straight through the wing? See it up there? Yeah. And then come on into the Purple Library.
Do they still put the shields up for the family as they go on?
No, this is
That's
it.
that's it.
Yeah, because the third Marcus built the house,
Yeah.
everything stops
Just from
as
here.
far as that's concerned, as far as the third Marcus, yeah? Come on through. Talk about hinges and door handles. We're going from here into the Purple Library. Now, nowadays poppies mean different things to us. It's a remembrance thing. But in those days, poppies were a sign of knowledge. So we're going from here into the library. If you look at the door hinges on the door here, you'll see poppies carved into the door hinges. Come on in.
Okay, I want this library.
Are you okay, man?
Yeah. But I think one shelf, I've probably got about 6. Almost like a monastery.
So, welcome to the Purple Library. And if you're looking at it and you're saying to yourself, wow, what a lovely library, you're correct. It is a lovely library, but you're only 1/3 correct. Because if you're allowed to go through that door there, you would come to the red library. Go through the red library, you come to another door, go through it, and you come to the blue library. So we have 3 libraries, all the same size as this, all with marble arches, beautiful fireplaces, and beautiful ceilings, and in this case, an unfinished French walnut ceiling. What should have happened is, the idea was that the spokes and the wheels, if you like, and the outside of the wheels should all have been gilded, but were never ever finished. And at the last count, in the libraries alone, 12,000 books. But we have another 14,000 books that we have in archives that we don't have room for on the shelves. And each library is a library of collections. And the main collection in here starts at this cabinet here. All of these books in here, all the books across there, the books between the 2 windows, and the books on the other side of the fireplace are all one of 2 things. They're either a Bible or they're a book on religion. Because the third Marquis of Bute studied religion really, really carefully, and when he became 21 in 1868, he converted from being a Scottish Presbyterian to being a Roman Catholic. 3 generations before that, we've got John Knox, we've got the Reformation, we're not allowed a Catholic on the throne anymore, and all of a sudden we've got this guy, worth £35 million a year. He's got 14 titles by this time, turning Scottish history on its head. It was huge. In fact, front page news. But he stuck to his guns, and the family have remained Roman Catholic ever since. More staggering than that, all these books that you're looking at are in 21 different languages. The third Marquis of Bute understood 21 different languages. And now I have to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, you are officially worrying me. I was a teacher for 40 years. If I had a class this quiet, I'd be really worried in case you were up to something. Is everybody okay?
Yeah.
Okay, well, come on, go upstairs.
So the library room's like the colours of the thingy.
Yeah, yeah. And the carpets.
Yeah.
too.
No, on the library.
Stairs.
Will you manage these stairs okay?
Yeah.
We've got a lift. But that lift was put in 1897, shouldn't worry you one little bit. Yeah.
You know, I'm scared of it anyway.
Come on forward, please. Now, we have 21 different forms. Come over here. We have got 21 different types of marble. All of it from Italy or Sicily. Think about the logistics of getting all this material to a wee island off the west coast of Scotland. Unfinished work. The walls. The walls should have been alabaster, not plaster. Imagine, as beautiful as it is, but imagine if the walls were as shiny as the floor, as the steps. Wow. These are marble. So we're going to be really, really careful as we come up the stairs. If you fall on these, marble wins every time. So please take your time coming up the stairwell. So welcome to the gallery, and you get a really good view of the windows from here. So what you're looking at is you're looking at Sagittarius, Capricorn and Aquarius from left to right. Yeah? Look really closely and you'll see what look like bullet holes in the windows. You see the bullet holes? Okay. These bullet holes are cut crystal and they represent the stars that make up the sign of the Zodiac. And they're in the exact position in the window as they would be in the sky. And when the sun shines the way it's shining today, the sun is shining through the summer windows above you, shining through the cut crystal of the summer windows. That in turn is creating rainbow-like prisms of light, and they're reflected on the marble opposite you or the floor below. Yeah? Nuts. Just nuts. But in the nicest way possible. It's got style. Now, if you go outside and you say to yourself, I'm going to have a wee look at these windows that Jim was talking about, you will not see them. Because there's a walkway that goes all the way around the outside of the Zodiac windows, and then the third floor bedrooms start on the outside of that. So the third floor bedrooms mask from the outside these windows. Yeah? But the walkway are where these roundels of light are. See that? That is coloured glass put in the walkway and natural sunlight coming through. The ladies' heads looking down at you from the gallery are Greek, Roman, Norse or Egyptian goddesses. There are 128 of them as you go around the gallery. Look above the doorway and you'll see the never-ending corridor. See it? Mirrors. He puts mirrors all the way around the top of the gallery to reflect any light that comes in and to make the gallery look a bit bigger. 1880s. 1880s, Victorian times. We have 4 guest bedrooms as you go around this gallery. All of them have en-suite bathrooms. 1880s. So we'll go around the gallery so everyone can see their own sign of the Zodiac, and then we're going to take a big deep breath and go into the family wing. Okay? Come on then.
The guy was smart. There's ours.
So, spring babies, left to right, Pisces, Aries and Taurus. If you're wondering what the figures are the Greek mythological story about how the sign of the Zodiac came about. And now, my favourite spot in all house. Come on round. And as you go round, just have a look at the carpet full of prisms of light. Now, I am a winter baby. I'm an Aquarian. February, in case you want to send me a card. Yeah? But this is my favourite spot in the house. Why? Just look. Look at the colours of Gemini, Cancer and Leo. Look at yourselves covered in prisms of light. Your clothing just covered in prisms. Yeah? I could stand here forever, and well, not quite forever, but you know what I mean, and look at these. And it's the forethought, it's the thinking behind it all. The third Marquis of Bute was absolutely unbelievable. For instance, look at Cancer. Hercules standing on the heads of the Hydra that he's just killed. Now the Hydra is the longest constellation in the northern hemisphere. So the Hydra's heads are in Cancer, his body goes through Leo, his body goes through Virgo, and his tail is in Libra, 4 windows away. Wow. Autumn babies, your turn. If you wonder what the shadow is across Libra, there's a flag outside. That's what the flag is. So, left to right, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio. And here is a useless piece of information for you. Just imagine you're in a pub quiz somewhere and you get asked this question as a tiebreaker. Libra, when the signs of the Zodiac were started, was never called Libra. Libra was called Scorpio's Claw. So put that in the back of your mind, and when you come to a tie break in your pub quiz and you win that with that question, you can go back and buy me a pint. Okay? Big deep breath, let's go into the family world. Because it loses the atmosphere that we're trying to create. Do come on, come in. Now, if you're looking and you're thinking, wow, what a lovely bedroom, don't. This was never, ever meant to be a bedroom. This was Lady Bute's sitting room. This was her space. I'll come to the bed in a minute. This was her space. This is where she would do her correspondence, have an hour or so to herself, that kind of thing. And remember the ceiling in the Purple Library? This is what it shall look like. Yeah. Only difference here is there are 120 mirrors on the ceiling. Every single one of these little flowers around the outside has a mirror at its base. You can probably see the big semicircle mirrors in the middle. Yeah. So this was her sitting room. And next door, ladies next door was her bathroom. Because they had his and her bathrooms. So the bed. Why a bed? Okay. Residential weddings. When we have a residential wedding, we could put up to nearly 50 guests in here, but we need all the bed space we can get, so that's why there's a bed in here. And this room is normally kept for the bride's mum and dad, and they use that bathroom next door. So I can see the disappointment in your face. You haven't seen a bedroom. Don't be disappointed. This is a bedroom. Follow me. I'll manage with you.
Alright. Wow.
Yeah. It still all works too. I mean, it's still all the shower, the bath, all that. And it's got every setting you could think about in the shower. In 1880s, you know, you've got power shower, you've got spray, you've got only a douche or whatever. Yeah, 1880s, you really get it, honestly. So, welcome to the bedroom of John Patrick Crichton-Stuart and Lady Gwendolyn, the Marquess and Marchioness of Bute. Saying that sentence alone is unusual. Victorian nobility would have had separate bedrooms for man and wife. That did not happen in this case. Such was the relationship, such was the marriage, such was the love, that the two of them slept in this room. And such was the marriage, and so proud of it was the third Marquess, and so proud of his family, that this room pictorially tells every single marriage of this family for 900 years. Starts at the base of the ceiling, all the way around the ceiling, you see a frieze. And that frieze is the story of the life of Queen Margaret of Scotland and King Malcolm of Scotland, and Queen Margaret would later become Saint Margaret of Scotland. And this family are directly descended from Queen Margaret, Saint Margaret, and King Malcolm in a straight line. An illegitimate straight line, but a straight line nonetheless. The shields on the windows are the descendants of Malcolm and Margaret, but the shields on the ceiling are every Stuart marriage for the best part of 600 years. And you'll notice that each shield has a rope going through the top and a rope going through the bottom. You see them? Okay. Starts above the door here. Look above the door, you'll see there's a knot in the shield above the shield there. See the knot in the rope?
Yes.
Tying the knot in Scotland means getting married. And this is John Stuart, the first Stuart on Bute, the first Stuart to live on Bute. John Stuart, the illegitimate son of King Robert II. That is his marriage. Then the rope goes through his son's marriage. Then his grandson's marriage, then his great-grandson's marriage. You get the idea, don't you? Then the rope, look at it, comes up the side of the ceiling. Yeah. Then the rope goes behind the bed, then joins all the other marriages down the other side. Then look, it comes up through the ceiling again, and then this is the marriage of the gentleman that fell off his horse but brought the priesthood to the estate. Then the marriage of the person that brought Bill Cardiff, then the marriage of the third Marquis. So you have every single marriage from 1058 till she becomes St. Margaret in 1290, then down the side, then 1380 to 1900. And whether you'd like to sleep in here or not is a totally different story. Yeah? Gentlemen, when you reach your 25th wedding anniversary, you should give your wife silver. Ta-da! Solid silver, platinum and gold depicts Jesus turning water into wine at the only wedding in the Bible. It says it was made in Moscow, don't believe it. It was made in the Academy of Art in St. Petersburg in Russia and is here by kind permission of Tsar Nicholas II, the last Tsar of all the Russias, and was given to Lady Bute by Lord Bute on the occasion of their silver wedding anniversary. Totally unique and totally priceless. The photographs, Lady Gwendolyn, Lady Margaret, the oldest child, in her communion robes. We'll go through his bathroom so that we look at what Victorian plumbing looked like in the 1880s. Okay? Come on then.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I don't want that for our anniversary. I like the upside.
Is that a rat, an owl and a pig?
I think owl, pig. Excuse me. Rhino.
Fish.
Doggo.
Doggo.
Eagle.
There you go.
Something that's very angry.
Yeah.
And now you stand in a bedroom that was never, ever meant to be a bedroom. Lady Bute had her sitting room, this was his sitting room. Yeah. It's called the horoscope room because of the ceiling. Because the ceiling depicts the planets in the exact position they were in when the third Marquis of Bute was born, September the 12th, 1847. Why a bedroom? Okay. The sixth Marquis hates next door as a bedroom. So he turns this room into a bedroom. And if you're allowed to go through those doors, which was originally an observatory, he turned that into a conservatory. Why are the doors closed? Because the whole conservatory is being restructured and rebuilt because it's been pretty bad for a few years now. So the glass structure, most people have their conservatory at ground level, not Mount Stuart. The conservatory in Mount Stuart is 3 floors up. Yeah. So this then became a bedroom in the 1980s. And you have a real mixture in here of 1880s and 1980s. 1980s, obviously the doors and the corner panels to stop the drafts coming through. Yeah. 1880s, the walls, the fireplace, except the top part, 1980s. So it's a real mixture in here. Yeah. Do one thing for me, and before you leave Mount you have come in the back door. Okay? That is the back of the house. This is the front of the house. And if you don't go and visit the front lawn and look at the front of the house, you will never forgive yourself. Because the front of the house is where the impact of the architecture is. That's where the house really comes into its own. So before you go round and look at the front of the house. Stand in the middle of the lawn and look at the front of the house. And as you stand in the middle of the lawn, think about the 1880s. Because as you stand in the middle of the lawn in 1880, you would be standing in the middle of a village. Because he built a village out there of some 38 houses that housed the workmen and their families. So they had the workmen on site. We're going down the family staircase. Please be careful as we go down, okay?
What, so you can take everybody out like so?
Yes.
The other thing is when you get, I sometimes show private tours and go right up to the top, okay? But the same thing, you get the same thing when you come, we're going to go right down to the bottom story. But have a wee look up and look all the way up and you see how symmetrical everything is. And remember, we're talking 1880s here.
I'm going to look up.
Called family staircase because all the paintings and pictures you see are either members of the family or are buildings that the family either had a hand in restoring or actually owned at one point or another.
The chapel is right.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, right. Oh wow.
That's quite spectacular, isn't it? Just from
Poor bridesmaids, thousands on the dress for it to be pink and
Pink,
gold.
yeah.
That'd be amazing though. That'd be amazing. I don't think a farm quite the river song.
This was the third Earl, remember the third Earl who was Prime Minister? This is his father-in-law.
Might get a couple of tea before the crowd.
Who was actually an English nobleman, but went kind of weird.
Oh well.
This is what I mean, if you look, go here and look directly up. Stand there and just have a look up.
Oh wow.
wow. Makes you dizzy.
Kitchens, if you go for a cup of tea or a cup of coffee, you see the extent of the kitchens, the she went through to the back. But these are sitting rooms, private rooms, these here, toilets or indoor rooms, that kind of thing. So this whole area is now, the old building is now used for office offices, so it's all reconverted. So you now find yourself in what we call the Francesca corridor. And the reason for that is, all of these paintings and murals that you see are by an Italian artist called Francesca Pellizzoli. And these represent the last work done in Mount Stuart. Commissioned by the 7th Marquess of Bute, they were done in 2002 and 2003. And they represent European nursery rhymes. Folks, thank you. Huge thank you for, on behalf of Lance, who's had to go away and start the next tour, on behalf of Lance and myself, for your attention and your cooperation. You've been absolutely amazing. I can tell you, if I had a class like this when I was teaching, you'd all get A's. Never happened to me. Please, get the opportunity, come back and see us. The more you come back, the more you see. I've been doing this job for 15, 16 years, and there's not a day I come in that I don't see something that I've never seen before. So take the opportunity, come back and see us, especially on a day like today. Meanwhile, enjoy the rest of the day. 360 acres of garden to explore. Help yourself. Yeah. Enjoy the rest of the day. Come this way.
No. Too busy. Too busy for our little kitchen.
Yeah, but that's because they sold the priest house. The 4th
That will be a Stuart model
sold
scheme.
the priest house to the National Trust of Scotland and Prince Charles.
Ah, you were right, Prince
Yeah,
Charles.
about maybe